Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. If it's your first time, nice to meet you, and if you're a subscriber, welcome back and thank you so much for watching another video. Today I'm working on a custom Jazmin Bean doll, and if you're not familiar with Jazmin Bean, they are an alternative singer, they're non-binary, and they use they/them pronouns. If you're into alternative pop music, you should definitely give their album Traumatic Livelihood a listen, it's really good. I'm using this G3 Draculaura that came with some doll clothes that I ordered off eBay, and of course this part always feels like so sad. It feels like you're stripping the doll of their identity, but it's okay. I try to just assure my dolls that they'll be beautiful and unique by the end of it. I go ahead and cut off these bat ears. I normally just snip them off with a small pair of scissors and just get off that tip, and then I sand them down a little bit. It usually kind of rounds out a little bit if you're using body blushing or any kind of method to change the skin tone, so you don't have to get it quite perfect. Next, I go ahead and mark out where I want my bangs to be, and I'm starting off with Mocha Light. It's a Japanese saran variety from the Doll Planet, and I enjoy Japanese saran. It feels kind of waxy when you pull out the hank, but it just smooths out once it's on the doll, and it just has a really nice texture. And if you're like me and you struggle to stay not messy while doing reroots, it just stays together very nicely so that there's not hair everywhere. I'm using Sapphire Blue from Shimmerlocks to create blue streaks in Jazmin's hair. This is a really rich electric blue color and it's just very gorgeous. I love working with very bright and vibrant colors like this. It definitely makes the reroot process a lot more fun. I go ahead and add a bit more Mocha Light to the back before filling in the rest of the hair with Flaxen Blonde by the Doll Planet. Even though you'll have to boil wash the hair again after doing the face up, I find it helpful to go ahead and boil wash beforehand as well. It just really helps to see how the hair will lay, and go ahead and separate your bangs if you need to. It also helps keep the hair from getting so tangled while it's pulled back and you're doing the face up. So luckily I did not have to body blush the body this time. I actually had a body left over that I had already finished at one point, and I had wrapped it up for months and just kept it nice and safe, and it stayed nice. So I promised a couple of videos ago that I would do a full-on body blushing tutorial. I do have a doll plan that I will definitely be doing that. However, just to save time, I went ahead and used this body for this particular doll. But I will show you how to body blush the face. This is how I change my skin tones. I've had a couple people ask. I like to use pan pastels. They're these little pans of powdered pastel that you can use, and if you get a round brush or a makeup brush, you can just sort of dab on the color after spraying it with Mr. Super Clear. It usually takes about 2 or 3 layers, and you can get them in any color that you want for any skin tone. It's just great, and it like really layers on a nice soft and smooth skin tone. I prefer using it over paint. I don't usually paint my dolls. You can also use it over top of paint if you need to. Like for example, with my Melanie Martinez doll, I had to paint part of the face. So then I just layered the pan pastel over top of it to create a more smooth finish. You can definitely check your local art store for these. I also get them on Amazon sometimes. It's just really helpful, and I'll link them down in the description below. So starting off with the face up this time, this actually was a pretty simple and easy to do face up. Aside from the blue eyeshadow, which I'll get to later, there was very minimal makeup here to do. I just sort of sketched out the eyes and did a very natural color for the lips. As always, I was very light on the contour. Jazmin does have a little bit of contouring on their cheekbones, so I sort of accentuated that. And I put a little bit underneath the nose. It had sort of like some blushing and contour in the reference picture that I was looking at. And I thought it just gave a really cute effect. And so then I went on and did very light on the eyebrows. They have sort of bleached eyebrows at the moment, and I think that's kind of typical for them. So I used a very light brown because I find that using like tan colors sort of get very washed out while using Mr. Super Clear, so I went ahead and just used a light brown to create that bleached out effect. Using some more pan pastels, I'm just sort of adding some color to the middle of the lips, and now finally it's time for this blue eyeshadow, which was super fun. I layered on some light blue eyeshadow into the middle, like into the corners of the eye and creases, and then used a very electric blue to do the middle of the eyes and create a very dynamic effect, and then used a darker blue to fan out the corners a little bit. It's a very smoky, sort of like edgy look, and I thought it was very nice. Jazmin is a makeup artist themselves, so I'm always interested to see what they create, and even though this is a bit more like calmer than some of their makeup looks in the past, I think it's still really pretty. Part of this face up also included doing body tattoos, which I have not done yet. They have this very iconic neck tattoo, so I started off with that and just sort of sketched it out. This is definitely the most detailed one that I did. I haven't done tattoos yet. I love drawing, so this was just a fun element to the custom. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with like all of their tattoos, so if somebody's watching this and they're a fan and they're noticing any mistakes that I made, I'm so sorry. I also think in some cases Jazmin draws tattoos on themselves because I didn't really see the same tattoos from picture to picture. So for the Traumatic Livelihood tattoo for the name of their album, I just sort of scribbled the name in shorthand. Creating these tattoos was too much detail, would look kind of crowded on such a small space, so I went ahead and just created what I could. The tattoos on their right sleeve are very interesting. There's sort of like this alien zombie guy and also like a bunny and a My Melody centipede. It's very cool. I think it's My Melody. It has a blue bow, but it's very cute. And then for the tattoos, I sort of improvised on the top of the hand, but I know they have these like ring tattoos as well. Then I just went ahead and covered the face so I could spray the body and make sure that all of those are sealed. And I'm sorry I did not film the styling of the hair in this video. It's actually so much easier for me to style hair with the camera not on because usually I have to like hold the doll in my lap and do the hair. But basically I just cut their bangs and also made some little curtain bangs on the side. And I get out my nail charms that I love to use to create piercings without actually having to pierce the doll face. I just dab on a bit of glue and do their nose bridge piercings, which I think are so cool and pretty. Like, I love their nose bridge piercings. It just looks really nice. I go ahead and put the hair up in pigtails and we're ready to do the outfit. I have G3 Draculaura's measurements written down from my previous customs, and I definitely think it's helpful to just go ahead and save the measurements so you're not measuring the doll every single time. I sketched out a pattern for a bodice. The bodice is going to be separate from the skirts. I cut it out in both silk and pink lace and then just sew the bodice together. Next, I go ahead and make this silk pencil skirt. This skirt will not be visible later on. I'm making much poofier skirts to go over top of this, and this is just a base that will hold them together. I go ahead and get out this really pretty pink stretchy trim that I bought, and we're using this to make the sleeves. I cut 2 pieces of trim, each about 1 inch long, and I sew them together into armbands that will slip directly onto the doll. Now it's time for some flowers. Using Fabri-Tac glue, I go ahead and attach on these fabric roses onto the sleeves. On their album cover, Jazmin is wearing these beautiful big flowers on their sleeves, and it just looks so pretty to me. Now moving on to the skirts. I designed these so that they would be poofy enough without needing tulle to support it and add extra volume. Then instead of sewing them onto the pink slip skirt that we made earlier, I just go ahead and make sure everything is out of the way, and I use Fabri-Tac glue to attach the skirt to the waist. Then I just sew up the side of the skirt that I didn't sew earlier. The skirt was finished, except for I had forgotten to put trim on the bottom of it, so I went ahead and re-hemmed the skirt and put the trim on the bottom. For the lower skirt, I just did a similar process, except I designed the back part of the skirt to be longer than the front. I had to cut it into 3 separate panels because the pink lace is actually a pink lace trim and wasn't wide enough for me to cut the whole skirt in one panel. So I sewed all 3 panels together and then just hemmed the top and bottom as before, making sure the trim is attached this time. Just as before, I used Fabri-Tac glue to attach it to the silk skirt, except for I only did the middle of both the back and front part of the skirt, and then sewed up the sides to create a longer, poofier skirt. From the pictures, the skirt is not a full-length ball gown skirt, it's actually sort of hemmed like this, and I think that this length creates a very cute and cheeky effect. Lastly, it's time for our accessories. I created a glove pattern by simply just tracing the hand onto the paper and just tracing around it, making sure that the pattern was wide enough for seam allowance and would slip onto the doll's hand while the hand was still on. Next, it's time for, of course, charm bracelets. If you are a fan of Jazmin, you know they have a song called Charm Bracelet. It's one of my favorite songs by them, and so I made 2 charm bracelets using various different charms. These are created from my nail charms, and I love making doll jewelry out of these. It's so much fun, and it just really, creates an extra little cute accessory for your dolls. It's really fun. And so, yeah, I made 2 charm bracelets to sort of tighten up the gloves a little bit. And on their album cover, they are wearing a charm necklace as well. So I went ahead and created a 2-layer necklace by putting 2 chains together using 2 jump rings, added my charms, and then just placed it onto the doll by using another jump ring to create a closure. Lastly, I thought a simple pair of pearl earrings would tie the whole look together, and I took the doll out to do a really cute photo shoot. Growing up, Jazmin Bean loved Monster High, so I think it's really meaningful to make a Monster High doll based on them. This doll is available for sale on my shop, dollsbyacat.com, and I will put the link in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you again soon. Bye!
Flowers.